Hey guys, so another cold and wet day here in the shop, and today I plan to work on the Acura a bit here. Maybe I did a little bit on the Red 63 too, but it's so minor, you know what I did, but I'll still show you in a minute. But yeah, I'm gonna jump on this bad boy. Remember I told you I had some more parts coming for it. They arrived. Although, you know, after just crawling under the car and taking a second look, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with the existing parts. But, you know, we'll have them for comparison. What it really looks like the true issue to me is the subframe, because, you know, it's the welds broke in bad spots, right? Like right at the joint here and here, and then right in the center seam on one side. So that's enough to throw that wheel off, in my opinion, but we'll see. While I was underneath there trying to take a look and get an assessment on the work I need to do, I quickly realized that I need to jack the car up a bit higher. So since I'm doing a lot of work from underneath, I need space for me to get under there, and then to also be able to deal with the parts and whatnot, you know, and I gotta wiggle this whole subframe, right? So I need enough space to lower it down and drag it out, and likewise to slide the new one in and install it. And I also, you may notice I didn't pull the car forward because I need space here to slide it out. And looking at it, maybe I should have moved it backwards. I don't know. You guys may recall I was waiting on some bolts so that I could attach this bad boy to the engine and finish hooking up the support. The bolts arrived, but sadly I ordered the wrong stuff, man. I needed a M10 bolt, and I ordered a kit that only went up to M8. So that's my mistake, my fault for not paying attention. Luckily it wasn't too costly. Whoops. I knocked over the one part, but nothing's damaged. But yeah, anyway, so I ordered the M10 bolts, and looks like they arrived to my home this morning, but it was after I'd already gone for the day. So today is Friday, so we'll have to wait until Saturday to fully secure that. But I am going to start doing some work. Like I need to remove the exhaust, so I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to start disassembling the suspension on both sides, and maybe a little bit more, you know, maybe loosen the subframe. There's a lot of things that bolt to it that I need to take off, so I'm going to take some time and just try to, you know, get everything off. And the idea here is not to break anything or create any issues, so I'll just take my time doing that, and then hopefully everything goes well there. Then can come in early tomorrow, support the engine, and then complete the process of dropping that subframe out. And man, who knows, you know, if all goes well and we have a smooth flow of events, then I should be able to get this one in the car, and that would be a big win. You know, if we can get this thing together by the weekend, I would be ecstatic. But at the same time, things can happen, and I don't want to push it. So we'll just stay tuned and we'll see what happens, you know. But yeah, that'll be it. So right now, you know, I use the tiny jack stands. That's what I'm used to using for these cars. But I'm going to try and jack it up a little higher. Put a block of wood on the floor jack to help cheat and get a little more lift. And use the big jack stands to get it a little bit higher up in the air. And then this is one of the drawbacks of not having a hoist in the shop, you know. But it's just, you know, like I said, I'm a one-man army, and this stuff costs money, man. So, you know, I do what I can, and when time permits, I'll eventually get a hoist in the shop. But before doing that, I clearly need to get a roof. I got a couple other high priority things I need to do here before I get to that point. But you never know. Maybe I'll sell a car or two and just invest that money into the business, which is not even really a business, but you know what I'm saying, you know. Okay, so let me show you real quick what I did on the 63. I finally bit the bullet and ordered that hood emblem. So So you can see it there. Boom, nice Chevy bow tie. I still have to put the fasteners or the retainers on the back side of it, but I just popped it in place, and man, that really completes it. Now it's looking like an authentic 63 Chevy Impala like it should. Yeah, and as you can see, it's still hella wet in here. Shout out to Vanta Black and my wife Davey. We're like, oh, it should dry out in the shop today. No, you guys don't understand how much water comes in. It's still actively dripping as we speak. And I need to empty the buckets and see what we can do. And my shop vac is way too small to, I'd be emptying it 10 times trying to vacuum up this water. But anyway, yeah, so the car looks good. I think I might start it up. It's, like I was telling you guys in a different video, the more you let these cars just sit without starting them, things start to happen, So I like to start them up and let them run for a little bit, pull them forward, back them up. I need to do the same with the 67. It's currently under wraps because, like I said, we got water intrusion and it's still active. I try to keep the cars, as covered and clean as possible. But anyway, that's that. So I still am so bothered by this damn lower molding. I'm gonna try and maybe mess with that later today too, depending on how things go. So all over the place today. I really want to go pull the engine out of this Fleetwood, but as you can see, not a very desirable working environment with all this damn water. So yeah, I think that one's gonna wait. Maybe we get lucky and by Monday, nah, I don't know. Maybe this time next week, next Friday, maybe we can tackle it. But back to the order today. I'm going to get myself situated. Let's see, we got the floor jack right here to drag this bad boy on. Got my creeper. I was just sliding under there. Man, and unfortunately, you see the concrete's kind of all chipped up here, so it makes it tough for the creeper to roll seamlessly. The wheels always getting caught on that. So, I mean, it sucks working on the ground, but this is kind of real world stuff. Most people who are watching this trying to learn something, you're just working in your garage or your driveway at the same, similar situation. So maybe this is more relatable. And if I had a hoist and, was doing everything in comfort, so to speak. So anyway, I don't know how informative this video is going to be. Just giving you more so a couple of quick updates on the project. I still got to work on that. I need to maybe try just setting the camera up and letting it roll while I work in the background. Done that once or twice before. I think when we were doing stuff on the 63 when we were painting this red one. So I might try that. It just causes me to have to do a little more editing and hopefully I get the right angle and all that stuff. But I'm working on it, guys. I'm still learning the ropes with this YouTube stuff and we'll get there. But at the end of the day, I want to produce content that's going to help people in the long run. Not just, hey, cool, look at what I did, I want it to be something that you can all learn from and then maybe try to do this on your own. That's the main idea. So we'll get back on it and we're going to try and get this subframe swapped out. And if you're just catching up, the main reason why is because this passenger wheel, this car was in an accident, okay? And this passenger wheel is pushed back and it's very close to the fender. It's almost like right on top of the fender. And so we're swapping out the subframe because we realized it was badly cracked. I'll show you guys more when we pull it out, but you can see one of the cracks right there under the oil filter is significant. And then there's a couple significant cracks in the front area, as I mentioned at the start of this video. So we got to fix that, and we're hoping that that's going to pull that wheel back into place. We already replaced the upper control arm, thinking that might have bent. That didn't help us. And worst case, we have lower control arm and a whole spindle and hub assembly in case we run into further issue with this being bent or not. But as you can see, that's some beefy stuff. That's some pretty beefy steel. If it was bent, I think we'd be able to see it, that knuckle. But who knows? I don't know. We'll see once we pull the axle shaft out and break the suspension down. So I think it's a good point for me to stop talking or as I like to say, to stop yapping and start working. So I'm gonna work on that. I'll be back, guys. Stay tuned. I'm your host, Sean, at Motor City Customs. If you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Adjust the bell notifications to all so you don't miss any of the content. And if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and hit that like button. We're working on a bunch of projects kind of in parallel, so there'll be a bunch of content of different flavors. Some people like, some others like. So, hey, I appreciate your support, guys. Stay tuned. Shawnee C, and I'm out for now. All right, guys, coming back with a little bit of progress updates. So, don't know if you can tell, but I got the car up a little bit higher now, high enough to where I'm comfortable working underneath. We ended up going with the big boy jack stands. The little fellas over here just wouldn't do for this particular job. So yeah, so we got some work done. So once I got it lifted up, I got up under there and started to work on removing this section of the exhaust. This this connects to the engine on both banks, because this engine is a V6. So we have exhaust on two sides, and this is kind of like a Y pipe. And then we have the flex pipe, the little mount, and then this flange right there connects to the catalytic converter. So the bolts were a little bit crusty, but all in all, man, it was not bad at all. It really helps that this car is a Southern car. If you watched previous videos, I mentioned it came from Texas. So that helps a lot, right? They don't have the type of environment or climate we have here in Michigan, where you get a lot of temperature changes, cold weather, snow and ice, and they treat the roads out here with salt, and that causes a lot of corrosion. So if this car was from Michigan, those bolts probably would have snapped right off, but I was able to coerce them to come off. And I used some penetrating oil that's worth mentioning. I'm not sponsored or anything, but this stuff right here, Freeze Off, this stuff is really the truth. It works really, really well. It kind of, it almost freezes a little bit, or it puts a cold temperature on the bolts and causes them to shrink a little bit. And it's a very good penetrating lubricant. I actually learned about this from watching a YouTube video back in the day. I was doing some work on my wife's GMC Acadia, and I can't remember what I was doing, but I had to do a similar thing and move the front section of the exhaust out the way. And that thing, the bolts were so crusty, I thought for sure they would snap. And I did some research and was watching the video, and a guy was working on a similar vehicle, and he used that stuff, that Freeze Off. And so I went out and I bought a can and I tried it, and sure enough, man, that stuff worked. It did the trick. It was like magic, So ever since then, I was sold. I still use WD-40 and PB Blaster and a couple other varieties of penetrating oil, but I found, especially for crusty exhaust, that Freeze Off stuff works the best. So once again, there it is, CRC Freeze Off. So if you're ever in a situation you got some crusty nuts and bolts, give that a try. If you're in the United States, you can find that at O'Reilly's, Pep Boys, those kind of auto part supply stores. Out of town, I'm not sure, but I know for sure they do sell it on Amazon. So check it out if you need it. Anyway, I'm not trying to sell penetrating fluid, just trying to give you guys an update. So that's where we're at. I'm happy with that. I'm going to get under there and do a little bit more. But one thing, while I was under there, I spent some time looking around, and it does look like I don't really need to drop all of the suspension I was thinking about removing. So there's some things I need to do, like I need to disconnect the sway bar, because it looks like the whole sway bar needs to come down with the actual cradle. The power steering, I still got to get a better look at it, but I believe it's electric power steering or electronic power steering. So I don't know what I'll do there, but I would ideally like to leave the steering rack in the car. So we'll see. It kind of looks like it mounts to the cradle, but I have to take a look at that. For sure, the lower arms, I got to disconnect them there, but I don't think I need to pull the whole arm. I don't really need to pull the axle shaft or any of that stuff, right? The subframe is underneath all of that. So there's for sure several bolts and whatnot that I need to connect, but I'm gonna take another look at it and we'll make a determination. But sadly, I'm not able to do it all right now. I'm in the mood, I'm motivated and ready to take a bunch of stuff apart, but I don't have the right bolt so I can properly support this engine and transmission. And as you know, the way we do things around here is safety first. So I don't want to take any risk, you know, and it's not worth me dropping everything, driving back home to go pick up the Amazon part and then come all the way back. You know, I'll be back here tomorrow. So as long as the weather is similar and we have at least dry conditions in this spot, as you see, you know, we still got active drips and wetness in the area, but whatever. You know, I'm gonna still work on this and get it done. We're dry in this spot. So yeah, it's a little bit disheartening that I can't get everything done I want to get done, but I'm gonna still climb under there and do some things. We'll get it as close as we can without putting ourselves in jeopardy of being hurt or tearing something up. And yeah, we'll get this thing done. I'm even more confident that we'll be able to swap this out even faster now, especially if we don't really deal with tearing apart the suspension for no good reason. So we'll see. If we run into problems after putting that cradle in and the wheel still isn't centered, then we'll look at swapping that stuff out. But even then, it's just on one side and it won't be, you know, a major ordeal. So that's it. That's the small update for now. I think that's probably going to be where we stop on this particular project for today. But we'll be back on it tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'm your host, Shawnee C. at Motor City Customs, and we're out of here for today. Thanks for watching, guys, and be safe out there. Peace.